Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here, and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So for today's video, we're gonna focus on fragrances that I think are great for evening time in the springtime. Anything you might want to be doing in the evening or at night when spring weather is in the air. I'm not going to focus too much on the occasion. These are just fragrances that I think capture the essence of spring in some way, or at least are springtime appropriate in terms of what you might experience during the evening time in the spring. I do apologize to those who may be in other parts of the world where it's not springtime, but it's springtime here, so that's kind of where I want to focus my content right now. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I've got 8 of them, but before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like this content, and please remember to hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. Before we get started with the list, I want to give a quick shout out to mycityscent.com. They are an online fragrance provider. They're new to the game and they're just trying to get their skin in the game, which I do encourage. I think competition is good. They do have quite a wide selection of fragrances. I do have an affiliate link listed in the description below. If you feel like you want to check them out through that affiliate link, if you buy something, I will get a small commission on the sale. Any proceeds from that will ultimately go towards helping the channel. So if you want to go check them out, feel free to do so. Some of these fragrances that I am talking about today are available at their website. All right, so let's go ahead and get it started. First off, from the House of Xerjoff, this is Uden Overdose. Xerjoff's Uden Overdose. This is a fragrance. This is actually my first Xerjoff fragrance I ever got. And for whatever reason, I tend to kind of forget about it. I think it's natural for us to forget about like the first one and start to focus on the newer ones that come in. This is still one of the best Xerjoff fragrances in my opinion. It's fresh, it's sweet, it's bright and uplifting, has some very nice citrus off the top, has a lot of tobacco flower, so there's a floral element, very nice kind of earthiness coming from a coffee accord. It's got a nice sparkly, bright spiciness with ginger. It's not candied ginger, it's more of the earthy ginger, the root ginger, so to speak, and an ambery, musky dry down. This is great for the springtime because of that added sweetness. If it's a little warmer out during the spring, on a spring day, you know, it may not be your first choice, but in the evening where it's typically going to be a little bit cooler, this is perfect. Great for an evening out. Wear it to any occasion as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it's really specific to any one thing. Great one from the House of Xerjoff. This is, once again, Uden Overdose. All right, next one's coming from the House of Givenchy, and this is going to be Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. Givenchy Gentleman Intense. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, other than the original new school Givenchy Gentleman fragrance, pretty much the freshest iteration of this. You definitely still have the iris, so it still has the powdery aspect. You've got supporting spices, cardamom for instance. It's got kind of a woodiness to it. It's very enjoyable, very pleasant, and easy to wear iris where the iris is not overwhelming. If you're, don't like iris heavy in your fragrances, it's perfect for the springtime. It's perfect for not scorchingly hot weather, but nicer, warmer weather. If it's a little bit cool out, this can still work too. I think this is a great springtime evening fragrance. Check it out if you haven't already, but I imagine many of you are already familiar with the scent. Quite popular one from the line. So once again, from the House of Givenchy, this is Gentleman Intense. All right, next one's coming from the House of Nishane, and this is Fan Your Flames. Nishane, Fan Your Flames. All right, so you need to use a little bit of discretion with this fragrance. Most people tend to see this as more of a fall and winter fragrance, and I don't fault them for that. It is a tobacco fragrance, a boozy tobacco fragrance, and that is traditionally thought of as more fall appropriate. However, I personally like to wear this in warmer weather as well. So you got rum accords, you got tobacco, you got dry woodiness, oak moss. So yes, that is traditionally more of a fall thing, but in the springtime, particularly in the evening of the spring where it usually is at least a little bit cooler, if not ridiculously hot, I think this fragrance works just fine. It has this liveliness to it that I really me personally, I don't mind smelling even if it's a little bit warmer out. And also I just think it's an awesome fragrance that's just good for a good evening out anyway. So once again, check this one out first if you're not familiar with it. But you know, again, you can obviously just wear it when you want to wear it. You don't have to, you know, tailor it to just spring evening, but I am talking about that time frame in this list. So, you know, some might disagree, but I think that's totally fine. Once again, from the House of Nishane, this is Fan Your Flames. Moving on, next one's coming from the House of Roja Parfums, and this is Isola Blu. Roja Parfums, Isola Blu. Now, if you've heard of this fragrance or seen people talk about it, you do know that this is basically a repackaged rebranding of Roja Oligarch, but pretty much everyone agrees it's the same juice. It just got repackaged for, you know, obvious reasons. If you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, I think they should just left it the same, but I get it. But yes, this is a great citrus fragrance supported with awesome aromatics and woodiness, a little bit of a spicy aromatic touch to it. And I think this is absolutely stunning, very gentlemanly, very classy, elegant fragrance. Perfect for a spring evening out if you're trying to come off as a little bit more sophisticated. And also you just want something that's more fresh oriented or even or aromatic oriented. But I think this fragrance is stunning. I think there's enough of a richness to it to where even if it is a cooler evening, if you're doing something outdoors, it'll still cut through just fine as long as it's not like freezing out. And even then it may do just fine to just give it a more of a cooling feel to it, because this fragrance comes off the skin very rich and dense in my opinion, but it's citrus and aromatic focused. But lovely stuff from the House of Roja. So once again, from Roja Parfums, this is Isola Blu. Next up, coming from the House of Amouage, this is Portrayal Man. Amouage Portrayal Man. So this one here, pretty basic fragrance. If you like violet leaf, if you like vetiver, if you like juniper, this is one to definitely check out. If you're a fan, matter of fact, of how Dior Fahrenheit smells, I would say at least check this one out. This one really accentuates violet leaf. It doesn't have that petrol vibe because there's no leatheriness to it. I mean, there's kind of an oily characteristic to it. It doesn't smell like tar or anything like that, but there is cade oil, so it almost has this oily texture to it. But those three notes are kind of the main three notes given. That's pretty much the gist of what you get from this fragrance. It's basically fresh and woody at the same time, and kind of has this underlying natural sweetness to it. I don't know if there's actual sweet ingredients put in here, but this fragrance smells amazing to me. It's very intoxicating to me. So if that's something you want to go for your springtime evening choice, this may be a good one to choose. So once again, from the House of Amouage, this is Portrayal Man. All right, next one's coming from the House of Giorgio Armani. It's Acqua Di Gio Profumo. Giorgio Armani Acqua Di Gio Profumo. Listen, I've stated time and time again how I'm not the biggest Acqua Di Gio fan. This one I wouldn't consider a favorite. But the fact of the matter is, when I just pick it up and put my nose on it, it's just undeniably one of those scents that can work for everything. And I think it kind of shines for this scenario right here. A nice springtime evening out. And you use it for whatever. You know, you don't need to place this one into a box. Smells classy, smells fresh and clean, with a little bit of edge to it, with that incense and patchouli vibe. And even though it is a use it anytime fragrance, I think it really just shines for the spring with those heavier notes kind of helping out the aquatic freshness that is really known for the original scent DNA. So once again, from the House of Giorgio Armani, this is Acqua Di Gio Profumo. Next one's coming from the House of Bond number 9. This is Lafayette Street. Bond number 9, Lafayette Street. With this, you got apple and floral notes with a heavy base of ambroxan and sweetness. This one here screams springtime. It literally just smells like it was meant to be worn in the spring, even though you pretty much can rock it at any time. Wear this to any spring evening event. It should work for all of them. Quite sweet on the dry down with a lot of tonka bean and a lot of vanillic accords mixing with that amber woody dry down coming from the ambroxan. When you first spray it on, it's quite fresh and quite popping. Not the most realistic smelling thing, but then again, that's not really the focus of the video. The fragrance will work for the spring temperatures, 100% guaranteed, and also quite the crowd pleaser as well. So use it for whatever you want to use it for. Once again, from the House of Bond, number 9, this is Lafayette Street. All right, last one's coming from the House of Chanel. We've got Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme combines freshness and sweetness, which means it's pretty much gonna work. I'm aware that this scent has kind of lost its luster a little bit. Many complain it doesn't perform like it used to. Hey, whatever. The fragrance still works for what it works for, and it still smells amazing. Not the most realistic smelling thing, but I mean just everything that kind of combines into that creamy, sweet freshness that this fragrance has, leading more towards an orange flavoring in terms of the citric elements that are in here. The fragrance just works. It's great for the springtime, certainly great for a springtime evening occasion, and you can pretty much wear it to whatever you want to wear it for. So I still think the fragrance deserves all the praise it got in the past and still works to this day. So once again, from the House of Chanel, this is Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this list. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what are some of your favorite springtime-oriented evening wear fragrances. As always, I look forward to seeing what you guys share. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. Please remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.